Everybody, it's Mrs. Cassill, and this is how you get started using EV3 MicroPython. You're going to open your laptop, and your first thing is going to be to open your software. We need Visual Studio Code. If you've recently added it, it will appear on the top. My advice to you, is like if you just start typing Visual, see it's smart, it knows that it's there. You're going to use this laptop more than one time. I would right-click, so on a trackpad, that's, I love you to your laptop, and pin it to the start menu like this, pin to start. That's going to make sure that every time you open your start menu, it's one of the applications that appears over here. So Visual Studio Code loads really fast. While you're getting your code set up, you should definitely turn on your robot. It takes a long time to launch that Brickman interface for your MicroPython to run. So when you open up here, you'll see it's got my last program I was looking at over here, but you've hopefully added your extension. In order to do that, you click over here, Extensions, and you're going to look for EV3 MicroPython, and you'll see this Lego thing show up right here. We've got two parts to our screen. On the left over here, we've got this interface that helps us sort of manage, what the correlated resources, the external resources are, and over here is our workspace. So you're going to have tabs that open up here that are your code or the search windows or all sorts of things. But you're going to install this Lego Mindstorms EV3 MicroPython. This is what allows your code from your Visual Studio Code to actually make sense to your robot. So I've already installed mine, and once you do, you'll see a little button appear over here, Lego Mindstorms EV3 MicroPython. So depending on what kind of Python coding you were doing, or coding in general, you could have a whole bunch of different applications over here so that you could code in different languages. So those of you interested in something else, you could shop around for some other extensions. For us, we're going to use this. When I click over here, it opens up this sort of management window over here, and I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to name this driving sample just to get started so you can see what I'm doing. When I click the enter button, so all your typing in there has to be followed by an enter for an input. There's no click to move on to the next step. You need to press enter. It's going to ask you where you want to save things. You're just choosing a folder because when you assemble this program, it includes more than just the text code. It's not just a single document. It's got some extraneous and attached files that are interactive. So now I've made this thing. You'll see up here in the top it says get started, driving sample. Visual, that's the name of my program I figured out. And they've got this basic menu right here with quite a few things in it. So, oh here, hang on. Magic! That was Mr. Piddlecock came in. Sorry, everybody. Where were we? So, this is my program I've opened. There's this big menu over here. They've got some recent code that I've used. You can start a new file. There's some tutorials here that really are focused on the Visual Studio Code software. I'm not going to use any of those. In a lot of ways, this screen is kind of distracting and unhelpful. So there's some shortcuts in here that are nice to see for those of you keyboardy, right? But what I want us to do is we're actually going to explore our extension, all right, that provides us with this. So there's a couple important things to notice, and I'm actually going to change my window size for all. So I told you to get your robots up and running. There we go. So we're going to do this. Down here at the bottom, this EV3 Dev device browser is how you connect your robot. You need it manually plugged in. When you click here, it'll show EV3 Dev, and it will sometimes have a number, but it'll not be the name of your brick like you're used to from your searching for Bluetooth with our Scratch software. So whatever thing pops up here, you're going to click it, and then it'll connect. And you'll see a little green dot next to the name of it right here when it's connected. If that dot is yellow, it's in the process of trying to connect. If it's red, there's nothing connected, and you can't run your program without that connection. The next thing that we're going to do is that we've got, this main PY, this, I got to put, ooh, that says you can do it by Bluetooth there. If someone wants to try that, let me know. All right, so make this big again. So this main.py, py is for Python. This is your main program. Everything else that's here are the other directories and things that are needed for your code to actually import the components that you're using. So this is a basic program. You can connect your robot right now. Once you've done that, you can download it, and there's a couple ways to do that. One is by pressing F5 on your hotkeys up there, or you can go up here to run and say start debugging. You'll see there's that F5. Debugging is the word we use for actually checking the parameters of your code. When you're plugged in, it runs that code immediately. It opens a console on the bottom down here for debugging, where it's looking for errors that are going to prevent your code from running. And then mostly it's on this output screen, and it'll tell you that the program ran successfully or if there was a problem. So this is a great first program to run. Get that robot to beep. So you can see some of the things that are here that make sense or don't make sense. You've got all of these components that have been imported in order to have your program run. You've got all of these words are functions that we need your robot to understand, and there's a whole big library for them. This PyBricks has a whole bunch of libraries of this code that's already been written by someone. So we're importing these objects so that they can, and functions so that they can do things, right? So once we start our program, we have to name what stuff we're using. In this case, we're using an object, an EV3 brick, and typing that whole thing out every time is long. So we've named a new object, EV3. And what is that new object? It's an EV3 brick. I could just as easily have called this cat. And then down here in my code, I could have this say, so I've got an object named cat. What is it? It's an EV3 brick. And then my program says, hey, cat, which happens to be an EV3 brick, will you use the speaker and make it beep? And that's a function that's part of our code already. That's already built in. So we didn't have to do that. These kinds of things, the speaker.beep, we're going to learn some of those, and you can look those up too. So there's a big code library where you can pull in things that you want to use. So this is a basic program to get your robot to beep. Set it up and try it.